U.S. foreign policy. With a new year come new challenges. What to watch for in 2015. Girl power. Helping young women realize their potential in engineering, math, and science. And Kanye and his new collaborator make music magic. The backstory and what's trending. Africa 54 starts right now.
Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. With a new year comes new challenges and a few old ones. 2014 left the United States with a lot of unfinished business around the world. VOA's Alex Villarreal takes a look at some of President Barack Obama's top foreign policy challenges as he enters his final 2 years in the White House.
After more than 13 years, our combat mission in Afghanistan will be over.
In December, President Obama marked the end of America's longest war. But Pentagon officials say the dawn of 2015 does not mean the end of U.S. assistance.
It's not like on December 31st we're just going to walk away. We aren't. We're going to remain.
Air support, training, and counterterrorism are all on the agenda for the more than 10,000 U.S. troops staying in Afghanistan this year. It's help Afghan forces need after a rise in Taliban attacks. The U.S. will also fight terrorism in the form of Islamic State militants. The group surged into the public consciousness in 2014 with its rapid takeover of large parts of Iraq and Syria and its brutal beheadings of Westerners. Airstrikes against the group appear to be working, with analysts predicting continued gains.
I think Iraq, between the Kurdish army and the national army based in Baghdad with strong U.S. support, will make progress in 2015.
Also in need of progress are the efforts of the U.S. and 5 other world powers to reach a nuclear deal with Iran. Negotiators are now aiming for July after a November deadline passed without agreement.
These talks aren't going to suddenly get easier just because we extend them. They're tough, and they've been tough, and they're going to stay tough.
And the new Republican-controlled U.S. Congress could complicate things even more, say analysts.
Members of Congress are anxious to impose additional sanctions that could have a disruptive effect.
Russia is the source of even more sanctions tensions. Those the U.S. has imposed for Russian support of Ukrainian separatists have helped send Russia's currency and economy into a nosedive. But the Ukraine conflict is a dispute U.S. officials are determined to overcome.
No one's given up on the U.S.-Russia relationship. We have to get it to a better place.
The U.S. says Russia could get sanctions relief by withdrawing all troops from Ukrainian territory, among other conditions. And not to be forgotten is North Korea. U.S. investigators traced the November cyber attack on Sony Pictures Entertainment to the isolated nation. In response, President Obama made new sanctions against North Korea, his first foreign policy move of the new year. Alex Villarreal, VOA News, Washington.
Well, the U.S. Capitol witnesses a transfer of power this week as Republicans take control of the Senate when a new Congress convenes. VOA's Michael Bowman reports with majorities in both houses of Congress, Republicans face a dual task, advancing their core beliefs while also working with the Democratic President Barack Obama.
They came to power in an electoral wave. Republicans soon to be sworn in as senators.
We go to work to fix a Washington that is out of step, out of touch, and out of time.
Among those who will flex muscle on Capitol Hill, Senator-elect Tom Tillis, who says chronic gridlock in Congress will ease under unified Republican leadership.
Just to be able to take matters coming from the House and from the Senate and sending them to the president's desk is something we haven't seen for several years. So I think by just focusing on getting Congress back to function, then we can start doing things that will heal the economy.
But the Republican legislative agenda is loaded with items to undo, limit, or overhaul President Obama's proudest accomplishments, like health care reform. While the president says he is eager to work with Republicans,
The American people just want to see work done here in Washington.
Vice President Joe Biden says the Affordable Care Act is working just as intended.
We have finally ended the debate in this country of whether or not health insurance is a right or a privilege. We think everyone in America has a right to have adequate health care insurance, and the Affordable Care Act gives them that right.
Many Republicans also object to the president's recent executive orders benefiting millions of undocumented immigrants and relaunching diplomatic ties with Cuba. However those battles play out in the coming year, Republicans say they are looking ahead to the next presidential contest. Senator-elect Ben Sasse.
Obviously, we need to demonstrate an ability to govern. But we also need to admit that the big challenges facing this country aren't going to be solved in the next 24 months. We need to set the stage for a 2016 presidential election.
Democrats like Senator Chuck Schumer are also pondering the next electoral cycle.
If we put together a strong economic message aimed at the middle class, not only will it unify our party as the Republicans are truly divided, but we can actually do really well.
The coming week will focus on the ceremonial transfer of power on Capitol Hill. After that, the arduous work of governing begins. Michael Bowman, VOA News, Washington.
Well, jury selection for the trial of suspected Boston Marathon bomber Zohar Tsarnaev is set to begin Monday. Last week, an appeals court rejected a request by Tsarnaev's lawyers to delay the trial or move it to another location. The 21-year-old Tsarnaev is facing 30 charges, including conspiracy and use of a weapon of mass destruction in the killing of 3 people and injuring more than 260 with 2 homemade bombs at the race's crowded finish line on April 15, 2013. Tsarnaev is also charged with fatally shooting a university police officer 3 days after the bombing. He faces the death penalty if convicted. He has pleaded not guilty. A U.S. healthcare worker who was possibly exposed to the Ebola virus in Sierra Leone has arrived for observation at a hospital in the state of Nebraska. The patient will be monitored for 21 days to see if the Ebola disease develops. Meantime, a London hospital says the health of a Scottish nurse being treated for Ebola has deteriorated rapidly in recent days, and she is in critical condition. Pauline Kafaki had been volunteering in the anti-Ebola effort in Sierra Leone last month before she fell ill. The World Health Organization says more than 20,000 people are infected with the Ebola virus and nearly 8,000 people have died from the disease. Well, Boko Haram Islamic militants have overpowered a multinational military force and seized its key base on Nigeria's border with Chad, according to residents who took to canoes to escape. Troops eventually fled the remote station on Lake Chad after it was attacked on Saturday by Boko Haram fighters. Abaga is the headquarters of a multinational force comprising troops from Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon, although only Nigerian troops are actually stationed there. Now, as Africa enters 2015, the worst ever Ebola outbreak is still ravaging 3 West African nations. Terrorists remain a menace in Nigeria and East Africa. In South Sudan, an unresolved conflict has led to a humanitarian crisis, and things are not any better in the Central African Republic, where clashes between Muslim rebels and Christian militias continue. But those are just a few of Africa's challenges as we look ahead. Well, so what should be the continent's priorities? For some perspective, I'm joined by Kwaku Nwama. He's an analyst and also a senior research fellow at the Center for Conflict Resolution, Salisbury University. Welcome, Professor Nwama.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the continent, as we begin the new year, looks like we are carrying over quite a plate full of challenges. What is the one that stands out?
Well, the big issues in the news they're the ones that get the attention, the Ebola, the Boko Haram problems. But for me, there are 4 big surveys that came out last year that gives us some ideas about the structural problems that we face. So if you take a look at the Fragile States Survey Index, the 5 worst performers are all African countries. Yeah. If you take a look at Corruption Perception Index, which is put up by Transparency International, 5 of the worst 10 performers are Africa. If you take a look at the Freedom in the World Survey, Freedom House, which looks at governance and rights on the continent, of the 10 countries that performed worse, 5 are in Africa. And Freedom House actually says, the continent with almost 1 billion people, 925 million people, only 12% live in free societies. And the last one, which for me is very troubling, is the survey of the best universities in the world. Only one African university is in the top 200.
That is
University of Cape Town. And that's, for me, that's a bigger problem because it says that we haven't figured out how to make our societies work.
Now, how do those kind of issues that have been identified actually resonate with what we've seen happening throughout the year, say Ebola?
Well, with everything else, Ebola, if you have good institutions, you can deal with Ebola. But good institutions just don't spring from the skies. It's like a vegetable garden. If you don't cultivate it, you can't harvest it. So when the fundamentals are weak across all sectors, you're going to have these problems. So take a look at the one African bright spot in handling of Ebola, Nigeria, which was able to beat back Ebola. A lot of that capacity came from investment that had been made towards polio eradication, and that capacity was able to be transferred to deal with Ebola. So if we don't invest in these institutions, we can't expect miracles.
Now, talk about Nigeria, and perhaps this also touches on East Africa. One of the other challenges has been terrorism, and someone will say, well, the continent doesn't seem to be having the ability to deal with, for example, Boko Haram in Nigeria.
Yes. Well, it goes back to the issue of the social contract and how we administer our societies. Boko Haram shouldn't be as successful as they are if the Nigerian government were doing all that its citizens expect. We have a saying, if there are no cracks in your wall, the lizard cannot come to your bedroom. So you have to look at the government. We have these governments. They are there for a reason. If they don't do their job properly, they leave space for these types of organizations who don't have a social contract with the people to emerge. So if you're looking for solutions to these problems, look to your government. Hold governments accountable, build institutions. The Nigerian military's inability to contain Boko Haram is very troubling because we're talking about the
biggest military force in the country.
Yes.
But very quickly, as we're running out of time, many people are really saddened by the developments in South Sudan, our new baby on the continent. What do you make of that?
Well, it's the typical African story. It all starts, everybody's happy, and a new nation, and then it goes the way of everybody else that we've seen. That's the story of African post-colonial history, where people cannot solve basic problems that should be routine.
Isn't it sad, though, that we should accept that as, what should be
No,
happening?
it means that you work on it, and you figure out a way to make everybody a partner in the nation-building process.
And let's hope somebody's listening. They're going to work on that. Professor Norma, thank you very much for your insights. Professor Kwaku Norma is an analyst and also a senior research fellow at the Center for Conflict Resolution at Salisbury University. Well, now, in Southeast Asia, search and recovery teams took advantage of calm seas Monday to expand the hunt for wreckage and victims from the Air Asia passenger jet that crashed into the Java Sea on December 28th. 3 more bodies were recovered Monday, and 9 of the 37 bodies found have been identified. Bad weather for the last week has hampered search and recovery efforts. The Airbus A320 crashed en route from Indonesia to Singapore during a storm, though no official cause has been determined. Murky waters forced divers to turn back Sunday after nearing what officials suspect is the main debris field of the aircraft.
They made the dive, but in the seabed, the visibility was 0, which means a complete darkness. With muddy seabed, also the current wind is about 3 to 5 knots. With this kind of condition, the diving effort is temporarily suspended by the coordinator. They will use ROVs instead.
Well, recovery teams are hoping to reach what they believe is the plane's fuselage to retrieve bodies and the aircraft's flight data recorders, the so-called black boxes located in the tail section of the aircraft. Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, getting girls to think outside the box as they prepare for the future. Stay with us.
I wanted to present music and a side of American culture that is most important to me, that is a part of who I am. They're going to get some incredible performances. That's one of the things I love, bringing these artists in so you can get to see them do what they do. It's soul music, and that's what music is. It's that which comes from the soul.
Now, welcome back. In the next decades, the United States will have a great demand for people trained in sciences, technology, engineering, and math. President Barack Obama launched a 5-year strategic plan to increase the number of students and teachers trained in those fields, also known as STEM. Studies, however, show that not all young people are interested in those fields of study. Faith Lapidus has our report.
$3 billion. That's the amount the Obama administration wants to invest in the education of young Americans in science, technology, engineering, and math, also known as STEM. The reason? STEM jobs are expected to multiply in the coming years, yet girls appear far less interested in STEM subjects than boys. Only 25% of STEM students are girls. Kamsi McAdams at the U.S. Education Department says that could be because girls don't feel welcome.
I think if you look across leadership within any industry within STEM, engineering, computer science, except for the biological sciences, the main high-level leaders are definitely mostly male. We as women want to have people that look like us, people that we can relate to. A lot of times what distracts people from entering the field, or even when they get the degree, keeps them from wanting to work in the field, is because they don't feel welcomed.
You are beauty, and beauty is perfection.
Engineer Debbie Sterling invents construction toys for girls. Called Goldie Blocks, the toys help girls develop spatial skills to get them interested in construction and engineering, so that they view the world with the eyes of builders and creators. To interest girls, Sterling created the character Goldie. Unlike the well-known Barbie doll, Goldie is not focused on beauty or fashion. Goldie can tell a story, solve difficult problems, and create a new world.
I was too light.
Here in 7-year-old Mia's room, there are no Barbies or any girly toys at all. Instead, a pegboard, wheels, blocks, and a little inventor's journal fill the room. Mia has been interested in science since she was 5. After Goldie Blocks came on the market, she's been very busy.
When my grandmother first sent me the present, the spinning machine, I was really excited. I knew it had to do with engineering. So I grabbed the box and opened it up. So then I went for more. I went to the website. I went on YouTube to find more videos. My mom asked me why I was just watching videos instead of building. I told her I didn't have enough pieces. She got me the Builder Survival Kit. Yo, I'm Tori.
Even though construction toys for girls are getting some attention now in the U.S., Barbie still remains the most popular toy for girls. Experts say while toys such as Legos and Goldie Blocks can stimulate an already existing interest in engineering and construction, the main responsibility for inspiring future engineers lies with parents.
The Goldie Blocks idea was to combine two things. One is significant knowledge of building. So making machines, making simple machines, using the principles of engineering, but also storytelling, because a lot of little girls like a story. Just buying your child Goldie Blocks is not going to change things. I think it's a deliberate attempt with lots of messages that we give to girls.
Experts add that high-quality education, good working conditions, and constant participation in projects that require teamwork and creative thinking will attract more females into the sphere of computer science, information technology, physics, and engineering. For writer Anush Avetsian, I'm Faith Lapidus, VOA News, Washington.
Long-running clashes between two neighborhoods in Lebanon's second-largest city, Tripoli, are being further fueled by the war in Syria. But inside a kitchen on our Tripoli street that is the front line of the conflict, women from both communities are working together to earn a living. John Owens has more.
A single street here in Tripoli divides two neighbourhoods split along sectarian lines. On one side are the Sunni Muslims of Bab al-Tabana, on the other, the Alawites of Jab al-Mosul. The neighbourhoods have been the centre of clashes for decades, but now there is hope, as long-held animosity is put aside in the name of good food. Women from both communities are coming together to cook, thanks to a project by non-profit organisation, Ruad al-Tanmaya Lebanon. With the help of professional chefs, the women completed training this autumn and are now earning a living selling their food to organisations such as the Red Cross. Sarah Al-Charif heads Ruad al-Tanmaya Lebanon. She says the aim is not just to unite the women, but empower them too.
Now in this project they realize that now we are sharing the same pain, but now we are sharing the same purpose. So we started to share the same purpose, which is we want to get income, to generate income in order for us to support our families financially. And when you give them the access to start empowering themselves financially, then you are empowering indirectly their families educationally.
Aggravated by the Syrian war and the actions of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and Alawite, long-running tensions in Tripoli erupted once again in October. Clashes between gunmen and the Lebanese army caused thousands of residents to flee from the area. The involvement of Islamist militants in the fighting fueled fears that the self-proclaimed Islamic State was attempting to gain a foothold in Lebanon. But amid the ongoing violence, Bab al-Tabana resident Hannah Awad is drawing hope from the cooking sessions.
Each person was sitting by herself. We were looking at each other thinking, she's from there and I'm from here. Then after the second or third sessions, we tried to get closer. We tried to get more involved, and I really tried to get into it. Now when we meet, we close the doors so people outside don't hear how happy we are.
Wafa Hazuri, who lives in Jab al-Mosul, agrees.
We've now been with each other for 8 months. We feel like we are one family. If one of us is absent, we all ask about her. Why didn't she come? We have a really intimate environment now.
A public launch for the kitchen has been delayed because of the ongoing clashes. But with food orders flooding in, it looks likely the women will be able to continue cooking together for the foreseeable future, breaking down the barriers of hatred in the process. John Owens, for VOA News, Tripoli.
Well, still to come on Africa 54, Kanye pays tribute to two important women in his life, but there's no sign of Kim. The details ahead right after a look at Monday's headlines.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In Kenya, at least 2 people are killed and dozens are injured in a 6-story residential building collapse in the capital, Nairobi. In Somalia, a suicide car bomber in the capital, Mogadishu, kills at least 4 people. In the Central African Republic, malnutrition and malaria are on the rise as children bear the brunt of war. New production methods help Rwandan farmers adapt to climate change. Finally, in Ghana, the Black Stars prepare for the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations in Equatorial Guinea, which starts on January 17. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. 4K televisions, wearable technology, and high-flying drones are set to dominate this year's International Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. The CES has gained a reputation for dictating the year's tech trending. Ultra-high-definition 4K televisions are set to dominate this year, with screens that house 4 times more pixels than regular HD TVs. Many consider Ultra HD to be the future in terms of home viewing. Tech enthusiasts should look upward Drones are said to soar across the convention center like never before. The technology has come a long way in the past few years. Flying gizmos are taking on various forms, from toys to photography to filming tools. And our wearable technology is also set to take on countless forms at CES 2015 with smartwatches, rings, clothing with sensors. You'll always stay connected. And finally, Kanye's new ballad. Take a listen.
Like the morning sun, you keep on rising till the sky knows your name. Hello, my own.
Well, West is paying tribute to his daughter and his late mother in a new song, Only One. The ballad is a collaboration with Sir Paul McCartney. Yes, Paul from the Beatles. It was released on iTunes New Year's Eve. Kanye's mother died in 2007 after undergoing plastic surgery. His daughter North, with wife Kim Kardashian, is 1 year old, and that is what is trending today. Well, it's time now for a Monday Sports Report, and here's Sonny Young with the sunny side of sports. Hello, Sonny.
Hello, Vincent, and Happy New Year to our Africa 54 viewers. Let's twirl my trusty Wilson tennis racket for the world's top-ranked female player. American star Serena Williams, at the bottom of your picture, won her opening match of 2015 Monday when she rallied to beat Italy's Flavia Pennetta in 3 sets at the Hopman Cup tournament. Serena credited a cup of coffee for an energy boost. Drink that caffeine, Serena, after she lost the opening set 6-0. Serena is using the competition in Perth as a warm-up for the Australian Open in Melbourne, which begins January 19th. Serena will be bidding for her 19th Grand Slam singles title in Melbourne. And while Serena Williams begins 2015 as the top-ranked women's player, let's give a quick shout-out for the top-ranked men's player at the start of the new year. Serbian star Novak Djokovic will also be competing at the Australian Open. Djokovic was scheduled to play Scotland's Andy Murray in the final of a tournament in Abu Dhabi over the weekend, but he pulled out because of a fever. I'm VOA's Sonny Young, and that's the sunny side of sports. Going to hit the ball back to Vincent McCory. Here it comes, Vincent. Ooh.
Whoops.
Whoa. Whoa,
Well, thanks a lot, Sonny. Be sure to watch the sunny side of sports every Monday and Friday right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings, Today Break Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us here in Washington, have a good night.
This is real honor to hundreds of millions of children who are deprived of their childhood, freedom and education, and that will definitely give tremendous boost and impetus to all those who are fighting it out and trying, but also to children themselves that one day they will see a morning of freedom. Thanks for all listeners, but all staff and leaders of Voice of America who has been very supportive for my cause for many years. So I would like to thank all of you.
I'm Vincent McCory from Africa 54. This is VOA. Follow us on Africa 54. Go to facebook.com/VOA Africa 54.